Pull
say.
your dick out. Pull your dick out and say you're Hasan's baby boy.
Yes, a riot it's something that's a part of our emotional evolution as animals, as like primates. And when it happens, we undergo a mob mentality, and there ceases to be any logic associated with the actions of the mob. And so,
For the record, I don't know if I'm comfortable comparing BLM rioters with animals. I think that we can have a little bit more.
I understand that that could be a little uncomfortable, but I'm comparing all human beings. We are animals as human beings. A lot of people are not emotionally disciplined enough to control their response to such stimuli. You or I might be stoic enough to sort of keep our calm.
I hope the relentless negativity continues to play well for you when you're ultra depressed, when you cry at the middle of the night, when you realize that you are a sad, pathetic person because all you can do is contribute. Like, you guys that actually show up to do the canvassing stuff are amazingly awesome people.
So I guess I'm concerned. I'm from Omaha. I live in Omaha. And I'm concerned with a potential mayor candidate campaigning with someone like you who has said the N-word and has said the F-slur online. And
why would you focus so much on me and not on like Mark's actual policy positions or what Mark believes? Like, you realize I'm not part of Mark's campaign. I'm not running for office. I'm not.
But you're definitely bringing over your supporters and your fans.
Do you think that you should be vetting and denying help from, if you don't agree 100% ideologically with every single canvasser or somebody that comes to volunteer for your campaign?
Do you not think Gene Stothert will weaponize that against
Gene
Mark?
Stothert will weaponize a million things against anybody. Like, if your only way to survive the primary, like, do you think that you're going to beat Neary running around saying the only person that can run has to be black?
I think Neary will absolutely do a much better job against Gene if...
Is Neary somebody that you're excited to see get through the primary process? Is that the type of Democrat that you want representing Omaha in a battle against Stothert for the election?
No, it's not. No, it's absolutely not.
Okay, because it sounds like you think you would have a good shot at doing it. So why focus so much on the position of somebody that like might volunteer their time or support for Mark instead of Mark's positions himself?
I mean, there are plenty of strong candidates who are also in the running who do not have the baggage that Gudgel does with being having the relationship that he has that you have.
Okay, and there are other candidates that are running that have like massive baggage. So I don't understand.
I mean, I just think that well, just from someone who's in Omaha who has looked closely at all the candidates, I mean, Gudgel and Neary are both kind of shit candidates.
How is Gudgel a shit candidate?
I mean, listen.
Gudgel has a ton of progressive positions. They're more fleshed out on his site than Harris's or Snipes or Neary's. So I'm curious why you don't like.
Is going to weaponize.
I'm not asking. I'm not talking about Stothert. I'm not talking about Stothert. I'm not talking about Stothert. I'm asking you. Okay, tell me, what do you think is bad about Gudgel as a candidate?
You know that you're a fucking burden to this campaign, dude.
Why aren't you? What do you see how you can like?
You know it.
Wait. Do you understand what disgusting level of like party politics of like weird id pull shit that you're trying to pull?
It's
like,
not
you can't even answer.
Party
okay,
politics,
just to be clear,
dude.
just to be clear, you opened with Gudgel as a shit candidate, and you have nothing. You actually don't know anything about him. So you are exhausting real energy. You are exhausting real energy.
I do know about him because I work with his students. I work at Omaha North High School, dude. I work there.
Okay, so
I'm doxing myself, dude.
Okay, so then what are the horrible things about Gudgel then that you don't like for him as a candidate?
Listen, this is the problem. Is that
who's another person that you think is more?
This shit.
Yeah, sure. Who do you think is sure? Who do you think is more? Who do you think is better then for the job?
I honestly don't know. I don't know who is who can beat Stoddard because in the
Wait,
past.
if you don't know, then why are you
she
so
has,
driven on getting rid of Mark then?
She's won against candidates who probably should have beaten her. I think even though RJ Neary is a shit candidate, um, I think that, and I'm getting kind of overwhelmed because I know there's a lot of people listening to us right now.
Oh, cool. You should try like having like a million dipshits like you that are massively tweeting crazy shit at me like online. You should try living that existence for like 5 minutes.
I'm getting overwhelmed because I know that there's a lot of people listening to this right now, and I'm passionate. I want to make sure that Omaha has I don't know. I'm getting nervous, man.
Can you just give me one other candidate you think doesn't have baggage or that could beat Stothard? Because right now the only name you've said is Neary, who is a literal moderate Dem real estate guy. Is that? And you said earlier that that's not the one that you wanted to see make it through the primary to challenge Stothard. So.
I think that I don't know. I think that Mark would have been a good candidate, but I think that your toxic fan base, it's gonna hurt.
So the only thing my quote unquote toxic fan base has done has been immensely positive in Omaha. We've supported local businesses. I order food from Nori's, the pizza place. I've got local guys that make barbecue for us. I think we're incredibly kind and courteous when we go down there. We're not staying at a chain hotel. I don't think the Magnolia is. I'd have to look or whatever. I don't know where this negative toxic, the only negative and toxic stuff that's happening right now is by people like you online. So you are the negative toxicity that you talk about.
See, the thing is, it's not about Mark Gudgel. It's about the fact that you're associated with him.
I'm not. I'm just a volunteer. So what would you?
Because you're associated with him.
Okay, cool. So I'm glad that you walked that back completely. That you agree that Mark isn't a bad candidate. Okay, and that you just don't like me. So why would you focus on me then if you think that Mark is a fine candidate? Let's say that I was literally the worst person in the world, but Mark ends up getting elected and is able to make a whole progressive agenda that he can implement in Omaha. Is that like a bad thing?
Why are your fans attacking people who live here who this campaign will be affected by? Why are you?
Who are my fans attacking? What are you talking about?
Your fans are attacking my friends. Your fans are attacking...
Wait. You mean your friends that are online making transphobic comments about me? Your friends that are online spamming clips?
About you? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it because I'm trans. Let's talk about that.
I don't care if you're trans. The fact that you the fact that you questioned my membership to the LGBT community without having any idea who I was an incredibly stupid assumption of you to make on a public platform. I don't know why you would do that.
So you are that account on Twitter. So that's interesting.
The more interesting thing to me is that you're making all these disgusting attacks about me while making assumptions about me.
How am I making attacks? Let's talk to your fans about the attacks. Let's listen to the attacks.
Okay, you've pivoted by like 15 different. I already told you. Was it you assumed that I wasn't part of that group just because you don't know anything about me? You clearly don't. You also don't know anything about Mark. You clearly don't. And it sounds like you don't know anything about anyone else running in this race, as you clearly don't. So I don't know why you feel so impassioned to shitster online and denigrate an incredibly progressive guy running for mayor for what? For internet points? For retweets? For likes?
Okay, so I'm interested on this whole transphobic. You're talking about me being transphobic. That's
not what this conversation is about. My question is, why are you so focused on me when by your own admission now, finally we've gotten it out of you, that you don't think Mark is a bad candidate? Why would you focus so heavily on me?
Because I mean, did you not donate to his campaign? Are you not?
I haven't donated any money. I mean, we're volunteering to like knock on doors.
So I think that's definitely a thing there. Like, is that not a big deal? I think that's definitely a big deal. You have a pretty big fan base.
Yeah, and I think Mark is a really awesome progressive candidate for Omaha. It's a city that I have a huge investment in, and I think it would be awesome if Mark had a progressive agenda that he could implement in Omaha. What can you tell me?
There's a lot of progressive candidates. There's a lot of progressive candidates who don't have the baggage of you.
Sure. What's another progressive candidate that doesn't have like a lot of baggage? I'm not running for mayor.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this because I know that you're going to weaponize this and utilize this because this is a fucking dirty campaign, I guess now.
What do you mean? You're making it dirty. All Mark wants to do
Who
is
is
talk.
making it dirty?
You are. I haven't brought up any of this shit.
How am I making it
because
dirty?
you
How
are
am I
trying to
making it
weaponize
dirty?
past clips of a volunteer that's like supporting Mark's campaign
I'm
to
not
try to take
weaponizing
out.
a past.
You
I'm
are.
weaponizing clips of you fucking saying the N-word.
I'm not
and
running.
You are using.
I'm
you
not.
are using.
I'm not
Are your
running for
fans
mayor.
not fucking helping?
Hey.
Are your fans not helping you?
I'm not
Are
running
your fans
for
not
mayor.
helping Gudgell's campaign? Are they not helping Gudgell's campaign?
My fans are not Gudgell.
Omni-liberal movement, which is a fucking insane omni-liberal movement. That's embarrassing, first of all. This omni-liberal movement. Oh my god.
Are you okay right now?
Am I okay
Do
right
we judge
now?
people
Are
like
you okay
Bernie
right
Sanders or AOC by their toxic supporters?
Oh
Like,
my
do we
god,
say
I
that?
don't give a shit about Bernie or AOC, dude.
Okay, well, who do you give a shit about?
I want my city to be in fucking good hands, and I don't think
Yeah,
that
and I'm
someone
curious
is
what
I
your
don't think our
problem
city in
is
good hands
with somebody like
someone
Mark.
who is- I don't think our city is in good hands with someone who is with Mark Gudgell, who's fucking friends with someone who says the N-word and the F slur like it's fucking nothing.
I don't say it. First of all,
And they have fucking toxic-
that's incredibly not true. I don't do that.
Okay,
Okay.
you were saying do you want to fucking show the clip on? Because I know you see the clip.
You
I
mean
know
the clip that you tweeted where I'm explaining why like words are harmful or whatever? Like you understand that there's a wait.
Show yourself.
Do you
show
think?
yourself saying the
I don't
N-word.
need. Okay, hold on.
Show
First of all,
yourself
wait. Hey,
saying the
listen.
N-word and the F-word. No, I'm not letting you fucking talk over me.
Well, you can let me do whatever I want because it's my streams. If I want, I can just hang up on you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Do it.
Do you think that every teacher that talks about like the teachers like Huckleberry Finn should be kicked out of school? Like this is such a dumb argument. Listen,
show your fans that you're saying those words.
I'm not running.
Show yourself
I'm not
saying
running
those
for
words.
mayor.
Show yourself.
I'm not
Show
running
yourself
for
saying
mayor.
those words. Show yourself saying the N-word and the fucking F slur.
Hey,
and
I'm
show
not.
your fans.
I'm
Do
not.
it.
I'm
Do
not
it.
running
You won't
for
do it
mayor.
'cause you're a pussy.
Hey,
you won't do it because you're a pussy.
wait. Oh shit! I accidentally hung up on him. Oh no. Oh, why is he? No, I clicked the wrong button. Wait, sorry. Hello.
Oh, you accidentally hung up?
Okay.
Show
Wait.
yourself saying
Okay.
the-
Hey. Wait. Hold on. First of all, I don't appreciate you using misogynistic language against me. Okay. So
Show yourself.
let's slow down.
Saying, "Oh my God, it's misogynistic language." Show yourself.
So let's calm down.
Show the clip.
Okay. Let's calm down.
Show the clip.
I don't need to watch past videos of me explaining why certain words are harmful. You
Oh,
doubt
you
my
don't
record.
need to. Okay,
No, I don't
you're
need to.
embarrassed. You're
I'm not-
embarrassed in front of your fans.
Do you recognize?
Because you're embarrassed.
How am I embarrassed? This is stuff that I've all streamed before.
You're embarrassed.
Why are you so obsessed with me when I'm not running for
Show
office?
the clip.
Why are you so obsessed with me when I'm not running for office?
Show the clip. Why are you embarrassed about the things you've said in the past?
I'm not embarrassed by anything I've said in the past. But this conversation isn't
Are you
about
gonna
me.
show the
I'm
clip?
not the one running for mayor.
I just posted the clip about a couple hours ago.
Well, that's great. People go on your Twitter and watch it then if you want. Although it's crazy to me that you're investing so much negative energy in this campaign, but you don't seem to support anybody.
It's weird that you accidentally hung up. You're like trying to like recalibrate yourself.
If you really think that this is the type of conversation that I would need to take a minute to recalibrate myself on, you know much less about me than you think you do. But that's funny to me, I guess. Why would you attack somebody else's campaign if you have nothing bad to say about their particular campaign because of a volunteer that might support their campaign?
Why is Mark Gudgell campaigning with someone who said the N-word?
I'm not campaigning with Mark Gudgell.
You're not?
No, I'm not part of his campaign team.
You're bringing out. It's weird that you're bringing out your fans to canvass with him.
Yeah, we volunteer.
Is that not
we volunteer to go
with?
knock doors. Well, we don't work with his campaign. I'm not part of his campaign. I don't give any input to their policies. Mark doesn't necessarily support everything I've said in the past. Like, it's not my relationship with that campaign.
How are you saying that it's not campaigning with someone when you're bringing your fucking fans out to campaign?
Because when you
with
say
this guy?
campaign, that implies like a very particular type of
you're
relationship.
canvassing with. Okay, so
Yeah, we're canvassing on behalf of him.
with-
Yeah, because I think he's like the best candidate for the job. Yeah, of course. Do you think it'd be better if like? Do you think that it would be better if I believed that he was the best candidate? Should I do nothing? Am I just never allowed to participate in politics again because you want to spread around?
Do you not think you're a burden to this?
I think that the resources that I can provide, I think, are really important to somebody trying to win in an election in Omaha. And I don't think that you people would be attacking him so much if you weren't threatened by his position.
What?
In this.
You people?
Yeah, Twitter trolls. Yeah. What do you?
Twitter trolls. Oh my God, I'm not a Twitter troll. I'm a fucking Omaha citizen, dude. You don't even fucking live here. You don't live here.
I've lived in Omaha longer than you've been alive. Okay, so one, check that. Okay, at the door. Okay, let's slow down. Okay.
Okay, slow down.
Yeah,
you don't live here right now, though, and I fucking pay taxes here. So let's talk about that. I pay taxes here. Why should I give a fuck about Mark Gudgel when he's campaigning with someone who says the N-word and the F-slur?
First of all,
things
I
that are
pay
fucking
taxes.
offensive to me as a non-binary,
I pay taxes.
Bisexual queer.
I pay taxes. I'm also a non-binary transsexual queer. Okay, so thank you. All right, number one.
I didn't say non-binary transsexual queer. I said a non-binary bisexual queer.
Oh, I'm a non-binary. I'm non-binary bisexual queer as well. Thank you.
Okay, transsexual. Okay, we're saying transsexual now like it's fucking the 1970s, I guess.
Okay, why are you so fixated on me when you have no problem with Mark's platform?
Well, first of all, you were saying that I was transphobic in the DMs. You're saying the word transsexual.
Do you think that it's transphobic?
Now, it's a pretty offensive thing to say transsexual now. I mean, like that's a pretty.
If you want to go through my record on trans issues, I welcome you at any point in time. I'm absolutely.
Okay, we'll talk about. I mean, I don't really have a record of trans.
Yeah, I know you don't. You don't have a record of anything because you're a child. I understand that, of course.
I'm not a
but
child.
But like attacking me,
I'm 21 years old.
Yes, you're a kid. I understand. All right. So,
listen, dude.
Why are you?
If you want to talk about, if you want to talk about. If we want to actually talk, we can talk in person, but I don't think we need to be talking in front of your fucking audience of weird nerds.
Why not? If you want to tweet for the whole world to see and you want to complain on social media for the whole world to see, why not talk in front of the whole world to see? Why would I try to resolve something with you privately when you're trying to attack and denigrate Mark's campaign publicly?
I don't think I'm trying to denigrate Mark's campaign.
Of course you are.
I'm trying to denigrate you as a person.
Then why are you calling on? Then why are you tweeting calling on Mark to drop out of the race?
Because I think there's better candidates.
So then you are, but you won't name any of those better candidates. And also, then you are denigrating Mark's campaign. Thank you. You walked back like 3 or 4 different things in this conversation. It's like you have no values or principles whatsoever.
I watched your stream from the other day, and I think there are about 3 or 4 other candidates who are better. Mm-hmm. And I think that's because I don't think it's anything to do with Mark particularly. I think it's because you're involved with Mark's campaign. I think
I'm not involved in his campaign. We're just somebody that go out and canvass for Mark. I'm only one person.
No, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. You know it's bullshit, and your fans know it's bullshit. You are involved in Mark's campaign. There's fucking pictures. There's pictures with you together. There's news articles with you together. This is.
Do you understand that there's a difference?
The only people you're fooling are people who are not in this fucking city. That doesn't matter.
Do you understand?
It doesn't matter because they're not the people who are fucking voting.
That's great. Then let the voters decide. That's fine. I don't care. That's fine.
Yeah, let the voters decide, and the voters are going to decide, and they're going to see that you're a fucking. Nobody likes you here.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not running then, right?
It's a good thing you're not running, but it's also people know that you are involved in Mark's campain.
Are you going to go through? Have you gone through and you vetted every single person that canvasses or volunteers on behalf of any other? What's wrong? Why are you so exasperated?
I'm exasperated because you're a dipshit, dude.
Yeah.
You've always been a dipshit. Yeah, I mean.
Wait, so do you not think
it's absolutely insane that you think that Omaha voters are this fucking dumb?
Then you let the voters decide.
Then we'll let you decide, and your fans will see that you're like we see this shit, dude. We know about you. We know about you. We know that you say the N-word. You know you say the F slur. We know that you're racist. We know that you're misogynistic. We know that you're
I don't understand why. Do you hold yourself to the same standards as me?
Do I hold myself to the same standards as you?
Why is it? Why do you use the F slur on Twitter? Why do you think it's acceptable for you to do?
When have I used the F slur on Twitter?
I linked you a tweet right there in the same context that I use it when you explain that the word is bad.
I used it.
I linked it to you right there on Discord.
I used the F slur?
Yep.
We'll see. Let's see.
Are you homophobic now, just like me? Do you understand how stupid it is to try to reduce somebody?
I'm looking through.
I linked it to you on Twitter. It links right there. You can see the tweet right there.
Link it right there. F slur. Let's see. Is this like a gotcha moment here?
It's not a gotcha moment. I wouldn't call somebody homophobic just because they use a slur to explain that it's bad to use it. It's way different than like using it at somebody in like a homophobic manner. To even pretend that those two things are the same thing is just so stupid.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Would you say that using the N-word is racist? Because I would.
I don't know if I would ever.
No. Would you say that using the N-word is racist? Because I would.
I don't know. Do you think Obama is racist because he used the N-word?
Do you think that using the N-word is racist?
I'm just asking you a question.
For a white person.
Do you think that when teachers okay, sure. Do you think that when teachers when you think that teachers teach books like Huckleberry Finn or something in school, do you think that they're all racist? Any student that reads that or any teacher that reads that, do you think they're racist?
Do they read the N-word? Do they use
in some classrooms? Yeah. Have you been to school before? In some classrooms, yeah.
None of my teachers ever have, but well, I guess, yeah, sure.
They're all racist? Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe that's your standard. I like to
N-word,
I guess when I think of like racial or equity issues in the United States, I'm more concerned with like what we get mad about on Twitter, I guess. Like that's more important.
Let's talk about what I want to talk about. Let's talk about what I want to talk about because I'm here. And I mean it's your stream, so you can go ahead and delete or hang up the call because yeah. What's the whole deal with the protesters thing?
I don't support rioting. I don't think that burning down private businesses is a acceptable thing to do.
So, I guess. So you think it's okay to mow down protesters?
No, I've never said that. Nope. If you've gone and you looked through my history, I have supported BLM and BLM protests like ubiquitously throughout my career. I've done it in front of conservative panels of people, so not just in my little safe space college groups where we talk about how funny we are on Twitter. I've done it in the real world in front of audiences of screaming conservatives. I've done it online against plenty of popular figures, people from Turning Point USA, well-known Nazis like Enoch and Stryker and Ethan Ralph from the oh God, I don't remember, the Kill Report. I've argued with people like Nick Fuentes. Yeah, I've defended BLM and the right to protest and even riot against public institutions for years. It's like one of the most consistent points that I have.
Matter? No, you don't.
It's because we know in America, there's no question that white lives matter. The problem with the way that we treat black lives in America is it seems like there is a lack of accountability whenever there would be extrajudicial killings of black men by white cops. That's where BLM came from. It was the holding accountable these police precincts that have a vested interest in protecting their cops when it seems like they can always get away, or a lot of the time get away with murdering black men. Everybody agrees that a black man killing a black man or woman is wrong. Nobody's debating that. Everybody agrees that when a white person is killed, it's wrong. Nobody's debating that. The reason why BLM started was because it seemed like there was an accountability problem with police officers and being held accountable when they killed black people. That was the problem. You said it correctly. You said it correctly earlier. You said it correctly.
Let him talk. Let him speak. Let him speak.
You said it correctly earlier. BLM was created because of the extrajudicial killing of black men that didn't seem to be taken seriously by police departments. If you want to create an organization that talks about other types of like Black Lives Lost, by all means do that. But don't say that every single organization created needs to cater to every single issue.
I didn't say every single organization does, but I'm glad you brought up that point because once again, only 13 unarmed black men were killed last year by the police, as opposed to 35 unarmed white men that were killed. So when we're saying like it's about police brutality, why don't they have a White Lives Matter? Why don't they have this type of thing? And if you are going to call yourselves Black Lives Matter, why isn't it everybody? Why not just call it Black Lives Matter when police get killed? Excuse me, when they get killed by police.
We have a White Lives Matter organization. It's called the United States of America. Nobody in the United States. Amen. Oh yeah, let me hear it. I love it. Yep.
Beta.
I love it. I love it. If a white guy gets killed, people aren't out here making all these excuses for why he should have been killed. Seems like it happens for black people more often than not. We saw it happen on stage earlier. I heard this gentleman say it over here. He had fentanyl in his system. If you want to create an organization to talk about black on black violence, do it. There's rioting against police and government buildings is good. Doesn't mean you have to defend every single part of it. I mean, I think it's like historically unprecedented for this many cities to have this many protests, and then countries around the world are protesting, I guess, as well in solidarity. Some cities, other countries too. So,
what do you think about it? What do you support that, or what do you think about?
Do you support the First Amendment or not?
No, not the protest necessarily.
Yeah, so I support. Listen, if people want to protest, I think that's great. If people want to riot against like public institutions, if you want to blow up cop cars or cop precincts or public buildings, whatever, that's cool. Personally, not a fan of the looting stores and blowing up businesses and stuff. I feel like it's a little harder to
So
justify.
wait. You're
but-
cool with blowing
reasonable.
up the cop cars, but just not the businesses. Okay.
Yeah, I think attacking public institutions is kind of a cornerstone of like American views of government, right?
I think it's cute that you've rehearsed that little spiel.
I don't need to rehearse it. It's my like life. It's my lived experience.
No, I think it's cute.
I'm sorry
No,
that you're
it's
like so upset that you can't boil down my entire position to like a 16-second clip. Why do you make
I think it's
anti-Semitic
cute that you,
tweets as
like-
well? Wait, are you actually anti-Semitic, or
Anti-Semitic?
do you just tweet about
Oh,
like?
let's see that one. Let's see that one too.
Yeah,
Let's see that
okay.
one. Is that the last one you sent me?
Yeah, isn't that like a little weird? Do you think? And this one's kind of bad because you're not actually using it as an example. This is just like a joke.
Oh my
to you.
god, that's my fucking friend, dude. That's my friend, and I was a fucking like 15-year-old, dude.
Okay.
That's weird that you. It's weird that you're so obsessed with me that you're going that far.
Okay. Hey, I mean, these
Don't
are
you
all
think
on your
that's weird?
timeline. It's easy to just search on your timeline and look for things.
Don't you think that's weird? That's a close friend of mine that you're.
Oh, so you think it's
you're
okay
still-
to make like racist jokes if it's to close friends?
You have thousands of fucking followers, and
Mm-hmm.
like you're just looking at this weird you're this guy. Like, why are you?
I'm just asking you. I'm just asking.
so-
Do you think it's okay to make like anti-Semitic jokes if it's in private company?
It's not in private. I mean, like, oh my god, that was over 5 years ago. Dude.
Yeah, you know how old a lot of the tweets are that other people are dragging up about me now to try to denigrate
Do you
Mark's
know
campaign?
how old? Do you know how old? Do you know how old the fucking clip that I'm talking about is?
Yeah, the Kenosha one. It's about 7 months old, I think.
7 months old compared to fucking 6 years old, dude. And you're talking about like, how old are you? What?
Okay, do you think that using gay as like a homophobic
How
slur?
old are
This
you?
was done.
How old are
This
you?
was done.
How old are
This
you?
was done 1 month
How
ago.
old are
Do you
you?
think something like this is
How
okay?
old are you? I'm not letting you control this conversation. How old are you?
I'm just asking. Do you think that it's
How
okay
old
to
are
make?
you?
Do you think it's
I'm
okay
not
to
letting
use
you
gay as
control
an
this
insult?
conversation. How old are you?
I'm 21.
How old are you? You're 21?
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely do not believe that.
Oh well, what right do you have?
Well, I'm going to look you up. Let's see.
Okay, well. Do you think that it's okay after you find out my age? Do you think it's okay to use like gay as a pejorative? Do you think that that's like an okay thing to do? Because that was just last
I'm
month.
not letting you control this conversation, dude.
Okay.
1988, you're 21. Why do you lie? Why do you lie?
I
You're
must have-
32. Why do you lie?
I must have misremembered.
You must have misremembered. How old are you?
You just said, didn't you?
Tell me now. How old are you?
I'd have to go and do the math. I don't know if my
I see it on
calculator app is
Wikipedia.
working.
How old are you?
Oh.
It's weird that you don't know your age. How old are you?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. After 25, I just stopped counting. I could be 45. I could be 35. Who knows?
How old are you?
Let's see.
I'm not
If
letting
I
you
was born
control this
in-
conversation. How old are you?
If I was born in 88, 22 plus. Hold on, 20. It's 12 plus, and then we're in 2021. 27. 28.
I'm sure your stands love that joke. By the way, I love your what's his name? Jesse Peterson. You were on that show with him.
Yeah, a few times.
That was a good yeah, a few times.
Mm-hmm.
You were on his podcast, and then you were also in person with him. That was a good I watch that often. It's pretty good. It's a good you did a good job.
Thanks.
But anyway, you're 32. So I'm 21 years old.
Okay.
If we're going back to 2015 tweets, we're talking about.
No, we don't have to go
who's
back that far. So, like,
16 years old.
look, here's a very recent one with you using gay as a pejorative. Here's one with you retweeting somebody that says mega retard.
I'm using
which
gay
is
as a
ableist.
pejorative because I'm gay.
Oh, so then you're not mad at me using the F slur since I'm bisexual. So we've gotten that one out of the way, right?
When did I use the R slur?
You literally retweeted this tweet like 12 hours ago. Guy says mega retard.
Yeah, he said I
Yeah?
retweeted it. That's the guy's name. It's one of your stands' names. It's one of your fans' names.
You don't think that? So if his name was the N word, you think you can retweet that and say that? You think that's okay?
It's one of your fans' names. I'm retweeting it to show the fucking world that your fans are using names that are offensive, dude.
I'm just asking a question, dude.
I'm just asking a question, dude.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Why do you actually? Oh, I see you do this to Pete
see-
Buttigieg too. Why do you question LGBT people's like identity so much?
I'm literally gay, dude.
I don't care. I
know
don't
what
care if
to tell
you're
you.
gay. Do you think when Candace Owens says I'm literally black, therefore I can't be racist? Do you think that's a good defense?
Oh my God.
Do you think when Blair White says I'm trans, that means she can't be transphobic? Do you think that when Milo Yiannopoulos says I'm gay, that means he can't be homophobic?
Any rational person listening right now understands that what the arguments you're making are fucking insane. Any
How? Can you
rational
tell me how?
person
Tell me how
understands
any of the
you're
arguments that
fucking
I've just
insane.
made are insane. And then tell me why you think it's so funny that you question my ability to be LGBT, why you make fun of Pete Buttigieg being gay, why you question his identity as well. Like, are you weaponizing other people's identities against them to attack them?
You're
why do you
such
think
a weird debate lord, dude.
I'm not being a
Fuck,
I'm just
man.
asking you questions. I'm trying to we're not even debating. I'm just asking you how you feel about things. That's all we're doing right now.
I mean, the thing is you understand that you know that the fucking argument is on your side because you have 3,000. I don't even know how many fucking thousand people listening to you, and you know that I'm nervous talking to these people right now. I would love to have a conversation with you in fucking private to explain to you that the people of Omaha don't want your fucking shitty ass supporters and your shitty ass fucking ideology involved in our politics here.
My ideology is not out there. It's Mark that's running for mayor, not me. You seem to keep forgetting that. Number one. Number two,
Oh my
the
God,
people of
get
Omaha
the fuck out. Get your supporters out.
vote.
Get your we can vote how we want.
Yeah,
but
they will.
your
And
fucking
Omaha will vote
supporters-
how they want.
Your
That's it.
supporters, oh my God, your supporters are fucking coming from out of state.
Not all of them do. Not all of them do.
You said in your fucking stream from yesterday that you're paying for their fucking hotels.
Yeah, I pay for hotels for people to canvass in. I don't think that whether or not somebody has the financial means to stay somewhere should determine whether or not they can volunteer for a campaign.
We want you out. We want to fucking pick our own mayor for ourselves.
Listen, I am more Omaha than you are, so I don't know why you're claiming to
Oh my
speak
God, what do you mean
for my city.
Omaha?
You keep saying that Omaha, that us wants you out.
You were born here. We're
Listen.
raised here. We're one and the same here.
I have
But you
lived.
don't live
I have
here right
lived
now. You
in
don't live
Omaha.
here right now.
I have
You
lived
don't
in
live here
Omaha. It
right
doesn't
now.
matter. Stop saying that you speak for my city. You don't. They have the right to speak, and
You
they
don't
will in
speak for
April when
my
they
city.
vote.
You
I
don't
know.
speak
I don't
for my
claim
city.
to. I'm not claiming to though. You are.
I've never even left here.
That's great
You've
for
left
you.
here. You have,
Yeah,
you
I
have
travel
fucking
around for work.
Is out the fucking ass because of your Twitch fucking supporters and your Discord supporters. You get donations out the ass for fucking just sitting on your ass and talking about your dumbass politics.
Are you okay?
Am I okay? Yeah, I'm fucking mad because you and your fucking supporters are just fucking up this race for us.
How are we?
Gene Stoddard is.
Do you think this is how you're going to beat Stothard? Is screaming and crying over what the supporter of another
Screaming and
candidate might have
crying.
said on
Screaming and
Twitter?
crying.
That's the way.
God.
That's the path forward. This guy that was supporting another candidate, he said bad words online, and we're going to kick him out of the ring. You think that's going to be the way that you take out Stothard with those types of tactics? You really think so? You understand how childish this looks, right?
Do you understand how childish it looks to say the N-word in front of a fucking audience of thousands?
I don't know. You're tweeting out the F word. You're tweeting out homophobic slurs. You're tweeting out anti-Semitic remarks. You're tweeting out like, my history is not perfect. I acknowledge that. I've done a lot of dumb stuff. But hey, listen, I've got a really big record that speaks for itself in terms of where I stand on issues. I'm not a perfect person, but I'm also not running for office. I'm just supporting Mark. I think he's a cool guy. I want him to get in. If you have problems with Mark's policies, policies, then talk about Mark's policies. I don't know why you're focusing on me so much.
Do you care about Omahans?
Sure.
Do you care about people who live in Omaha?
Sure.
You want to talk to some friends of mine from Omaha?
Why?
Because I think they're pretty concerned too.
About what?
I think they have some things to say too.
Okay.
Do you want to talk to them or is this just find someone who's easy to dunk on? And
if you want to drag a friend in here to chat because you want help or whatever, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Sure, go for it.
I don't want help. I think it's I think some other people would like to talk too.
Sure, bring them in.
Let's pause for a second, and I'm gonna pause for a second, and we'll talk to some other people. If you're serious about this, if you're actually concerned about what people from Omaha think, which I don't think you are. I think you're just looking for some content and some
You think I'm
likes
just
and
looking for some content when I'm taking off every weekend to go down and like help coordinate like volunteers, both from Omaha and outside, and to do it? You think that this is all just for clout when I'm spending money and I'm losing time
Absolutely,
streaming?
yes. I absolutely think this is for clout. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess you just don't understand why don't other larger streamers do this kind of stuff if it's such a good clout machine then?
So if it's not for clout, then let's talk to some other people. Let's bring some other people.
Why, would they know better than I would about like why I feel strongly about this, or?
I think people who actually live here right now, yeah, would know better than you do. Yeah, I think anybody who actually lives here would know better than you do. Yeah. I guess my a big concern of mine is that I fucking don't know why you care so much. You don't fucking live here right now.
Because I have a son that lives in Omaha, who's 9 years old.
You do.
Yes.
You do. Yeah.
Do you think that might give me like a little bit of an investment in the city, or was that another really stupid assumption that you made? It was another really bad assumption you made. Do you understand like how stupid you look when you keep making these like really bad assumptions about who I am or what my life is? You can laugh nervously if you want, but like it also kind of bothers
it's not
me.
Nervous. I mean, I'm laughing because I've caught you in a corner a couple times here tonight.
Okay,
so.
Sure. Okay, yeah, if that's how you want to feel.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Let's hold on. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna mute myself for a second.
Okay. What is the end goal of this conversation? I don't know, to expose that they don't really have any principled positions in this argument. They seem to be fueled more by hatred than like an actual positive desire to see positive things happen in Omaha. And I'm curious if somebody has like a good compelling reason why I shouldn't throw my support behind a candidate if there's somebody that I believe is important. Then also, why can you denigrate a candidate based on somebody that chooses to support them? That just seems so silly to me. I think even Bernie dealt with this. I think Bernie even like waved this off because there was some, somebody can see if they can remember. There was some group that donated money to Bernie Sanders or supported him. And I think they were either, I don't remember what they were, either racist or KKK. It was some weird thing like that. I remember somebody tried to get him once in an interview where they were like, how do you feel about the fact that these people are donating you? Do you disavow them? And Bernie was like, if people want to donate to my cause, it's fine. But like, I don't support every single person that supports my campaign. That's not how that works. So, if they support me, that's good, and I'll try to win. But like, I don't endorse the viewpoint of every single person that endorses me. That's ridiculous. This person wants you to renounce their support of Mark. No, I think this person just prefers another candidate. That's why they don't want to say it. This person just wants to support another candidate, but they don't want to. That's why they want Mark to drop. And then I'm a convenient vehicle for that, basically. Biggest problem I'm having is they're just jumping around without actually addressing anything you are saying and speaking in non sequiturs. Okay, true. I'll try to hold them. Down to a particular point because they do want to keep jumping around a lot, basically. The shittiest thing is just constant assumptions and then simply correcting that is a debate bro tactic. Like Jesus, fuck, get a grip. The most irritating thing. Actually, I'll save this for the conversation. I agree with you though. Hey Destiny, I've been around for some time, but not for years. How many years did you live in Nebraska for? Basically, how old were you when you left? I lived in Nebraska until I believe I was 30 years old. Kinda, but I've like moved around and I lived around Omaha and surrounding cities and everything. I lived in Northern Virginia for maybe a year, maybe 6 months. I don't remember. Like I've lived in Warsaw for 3 months. I was in Korea for a month. Like I've moved around a lot, but.
Hello, Destiny.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, Mark. Waiting for Destiny.
Oh, what's up?
Hi.
What's up, Destiny?
How's it going?
Destiny. Beta.
We have everybody that we're inviting.
What's his name?
Hello.
I'm not inviting anyone. This guy turned into a Jesse Lee Peterson soundboard, so I'm not sure.
Amazing.
Hold on just a second.
I'm trying to win over your fans, Destiny.
You got a long way to go.
I do have a long way to go.
Okay. I think I've got this figured out now. Sorry about all that.
We hate you, they say. Oh, I haven't even looked at the chat yet. Hey, chat. What's up?
I will, I'll speak for myself. Destiny, your name's Steven, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mark. Nice to meet you.
What's up, Mark?
I have a couple questions about a couple different things. Two things. One was the video in which you talked about rioting and breaking things. But we can get to that second. What I want to ask you about first is just the way that I've been hearing that your people have been organizing in Omaha. And can you just explain to me, because I don't know, I know that you were like at Mark Gudgell's campaign kickoff event, but can you just like...
I was not at Gudgell's campaign kickoff event, but go ahead.
No? Okay. Just clarify for us, like, how you've been involved from the beginning, like everything that you've done, just summarize for us. I'm just trying to get an honest picture of what you've done. Can you just tell us everything that you've done for the campaign?
I'm going to talk as comfortably as I am about this. Unfortunately, there have been people that have been involved in making what I perceive to be as threats to people that I have living down there. So I'm not going to be completely open with like locations and everything, because some of the behavior that your side is engaging in is making me incredibly uncomfortable. But basically, I am somebody that has very deep roots in Omaha. I want there to be a progressive mayor in Omaha. I think that would be awesome. I looked through some of the candidates that were running. I had a few recommendations thrown my way. I took a look at Gudgell's platform, and Gudgell's platform seems to be like a staple, awesome, progressive platform. So I think it would be really cool to have a progressive mayor in a district that voted for Biden, that went blue over another 4 years of Stoddard.
Okay. So you like, who are the other candidates that you like looked over when you found Mark?
So the only candidate at the time that seemed to be competitive was Neary, who came off to me as like basically like a real estate ultra moderate Democrat guy who already had like $250,000 raised. I looked into Kimberly Snipes. She seemed okay, but she didn't really have anything solidly on her website or anything in terms of policy positions that I could find. I think she's updated that since then, so she has a bit more listed out there. And then I looked into Jasmine Harris, and she seemed okay, but there's baggage issues related with her that made me a little bit nervous. And then I saw Gudgell, who has like fully fleshed out policy positions on a lot of issues that are personal and important to me. And he seemed like a really awesome pick just based on where he came from and what he was supporting and what he wanted to do.
Okay. Cool. That was a good answer. Thank you. Just as an aside, my friend DeJuan Hayes is also running for mayor. And if
I'm very familiar with DeJuan. Not only am I familiar with DeJuan, but I know that there have been efforts by Mark's campaign to secure signatures for DeJuan as well in order to get him on the ballot, because Mark thought it was important for him to be on the ballot.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Yep, that was something that we have specifically, that has been like, I know that's been talked about, and I know that Mark is a personal friend to DeJuan, and I don't know if he's called for it on podcast and Twitter, but I know that Mark has been adamant in trying to get DeJuan on the ballot as well.
How many people in general are you putting up in Omaha? And can you tell me like how many of your followers do you think are in Omaha doing canvassing work for Mark Gudgell?
I don't know how comfortable I am. Can you ask me a little bit more? What can we ask me, like what we're getting at? I'm just based on all of like the locating information going around or whatever. I don't know how like comfortable I am answering like specific stuff like this.
Yeah.
Can I just butt in for a second? What baggage issues are there about Jasmine Harris?
I don't really feel like talking about that at this time. If you know anything about these races, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But you don't seem like you're very well informed, so you can go figure that out on your own.
I don't think anybody in Omaha knows what you're talking about.
There are definitely people that do. You're just not very informed on the race. I'm sorry, Mark, what were your questions?
I just wanted to know how many people you had like helped get to Omaha, or how many of your supporters specifically you thought were working in Omaha.
So basically, I've got people that are friends and fans of mine that live in Omaha, and then I've got people that are friends and fans of mine from outside the state that show up, and we all kind of like do basically like the goal of kind of like my little organization is like mobilizing like youth interest in local politics is like a big thing that I'm working for. I don't think I'm comfortable disclosing like very precise information on that. If every other campaign wants to come forward and they want to give the exact information for all of their events, then maybe I would be interested in publishing something alongside that, but I'm not really comfortable like giving the...
Yeah, that's fine. I don't want you to like reveal information or names or anything. That's not what I'm getting at. I just was curious to know, like, I wanted the full picture of what you've done, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And you've answered my questions well enough.
And then to be clear, also, we're not paid for, endorsed by, or work in any official capacity with Gudgell's campaign. Their platform is their own. Their policies are their own. Mark is his own guy. We don't take any money from them or anything like that either.
Okay, good to know. I do like Mark Gudgell. I think his politics are okay. Although I would support like Jasmine Harris or DeJuan for mayor, but that's beside the point. There's a small business in Omaha where they said someone who was canvassing for Mark Gudgell came in, and they were like very persistent with them. And like when they didn't get the result from them that they wanted, that they like kept coming back and bothering them. And I don't know if you've like heard about that.
I know exactly the situation, and I know that they happen to have recordings of their interactions with this person. And that story that lady gave on Facebook was absolutely and totally slanderous. It was not even remotely true. And the fact that she has publicly supported other candidates leads me to question the authenticity of the account that she gave with describing the interaction within that business. I don't believe that happened as she said it was. My person going back was simply because they had given them an email to reach out to, and that email bounced. It wasn't the correct email address, or it didn't work. So he went back to get a different email address, and that's it. But like, my canvassers are incredibly respectful when it comes to interacting with businesses. If people say that they're not, I challenge anybody to have a recording. If you've been out door knocking, you know that everybody has like the little doorbell things now that capture interactions at the door. If you've ever snuck or listened to any of the speeches that I give before we go out and canvass, any of the talks that we do, like we constantly tell people, like, make sure you're kind, make sure you're courteous, respect people's distance. Like we learned a lot of lessons in Georgia about like how to canvass. So for the coronavirus, so when you knock at a door, step, like 6 feet back, make sure they've got space, like don't knock for an excessive amount of time. Like, I would be shocked if any of my, I'm only pushing back against it because I've seen a couple people are claiming that my canvassers are being rude or unruly. I would challenge them to post any type of evidence of that. I don't believe that happens.
Well, okay. And see, that's, I'm sort of like, okay to like, I don't want to let that go, but it's important for me to say that I'm a person who ran for public office in Omaha recently, and I have a lot of friends who are organizers. A lot of us were at all of the protests in Omaha. A lot of us were arrested last summer, wrongfully by the OPD last summer. And I know that even if like we were sort of like all really angry at each other, and we're all up in this like fury, and we're all just like trying to find the bad guy and cancel somebody. And like, I'm not trying to like cancel you, but I want you to like at least bear like the thought in your head that maybe like when I'm interacting with my people, I should like ask them to tone it back. There's one tweet I want to read you, and specifically that's gotten to the core of the tone that Omaha activists are getting from your people. It seems, at least, and that's important, even if it's not true, it seems that your people are giving off this tone. Let me read this tweet real quick. It says, quote, "Glad we agree a bunch of Twitch streamers forming more political power than the groups already in Omaha is shocking. Glad the people of Omaha have someone to vote for who's actually trying to win an election." So this is someone online who claimed to be a sort of a stand for you, and like maybe like working for Gudgell in Omaha, and they're sort of just insinuating that they're coming in with the correct politics, and it just seems a little arrogant. And like, we can argue and go, hold on. We can go back and forth all night about this, and it's all just going to be hearsay on either part of our discussions in this. So I think it's like, it's not even worth it to like argue about this, and I don't want to. I have another question, the second thing I want to get to you.
Sure, and just real quick on that first thing, I would imagine anybody that's running is going to believe they have the right answer. I would hope that's the case. I would hope that Snipes or Harris or Dwayne or even Neary or even Stothert would say they have the right answers. That's why you're running for mayor, is because you believe you have the right answers for the city, right?
Right, but you don't condescend to voters when they say, well, maybe you don't have the right answers. You sort of engage with them and you talk about them and what they think. But
yeah, of course.
I want to leave it right there. And I just want to move on to my second question, which is about the comment about rioting. And if you can, there are people online who are claiming that comment was taken out of context. And so before I engage you on what I actually want to ask you about that question, can you please just give me what you think is the full context of that statement, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, so the context of that statement, the video was, and you can even go back a minute in that video, my frustration was that the only shot that Trump had at winning the election is if more and more reports came out that businesses were being burned down as a result of violent riots in cities. Not protests, but violent riots. And that there were certain videos that were floating around the internet that looked incredibly bad. I think one was a CNN video where the guy, the tag for the video is, protests are fiery but mostly peaceful. And it's a guy saying that like the protests were okay and there wasn't much violence, and behind him is like a burning car dealership. And I was incredibly frustrated that it felt like somehow left-leaning people online had gotten baited into defending looting and rioting when what we should be defending is the protesting and everything related to the protests. That somehow Republicans had goaded left-leaning people into defending rioting as well. I think it's totally possible to support the overwhelming amount of peaceful protests that BLM did. I think it's possible to support even rioting against public institutions that BLM does, but I don't believe that rioting against private businesses is acceptable. And I think that most people would agree with that position. And that was the frustrating part to me, is that people seem to feel like you had to defend the riots in order to defend the protest and the overall message of the protest.
Okay. Thank you for your answer. You gave a very nuanced, complex answer, and I want to work to sort of dissect it to explain where I'm coming from. One of the most important political philosophies to me is Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail, when he describes the white moderate, who he says is a bigger obstacle to justice and to progress than the KKK, or actually like violently racist people. The white moderate is a bigger obstacle. And he talks about the negative peace that white moderates enforce so that they don't have to think about uncomfortable things. And white people are sort of always looking for that, to establish a new negative peace so they don't have to think about uncomfortable things and they can just go on with their days. And what Dr. Martin Luther King said about riots in the same letter, which I'm sure I'm just like repeating something you've already heard, which is that, the quote about riots being the language of the oppressed, unheard, the unheard. So like what that means to me is that a riot is not anything like a protest. A riot it's something that's a part of our emotional evolution as animals, as like primates. And when it happens, we undergo a mob mentality, and there ceases to be any logic associated with the actions of the mob. And so,
for the record, I don't know if I'm comfortable comparing BLM rioters with animals. I think that we can have a little bit more. I
understand that could be a little uncomfortable, but I'm comparing all human beings. We are animals as human beings. But I'm just trying to explain that it's like when a riot occurs, it's not like hey, let's riot now and burn down that Starbucks. It's I just saw a police officer kneel on someone's neck who looks like me, and I'm uncontrollably furious about it. So when we say things like, I don't think that rioters should do X, or I don't think that this is appropriate behavior from rioters, we're fundamentally misunderstanding what a riot is. And we're sort of like, I'm not trying to call black people or Black Lives Matter wild animals. A riot is something that like transcends normal behavior, and we need to step back and take an understanding of that when we sort of start to critique rioters. And so what I want to ask from you is like, does that at least make sense on some level? Like, we're not saying like it's okay to destroy stuff. We're saying
I understand that, of course,
destroying stuff because the material conditions have like put so many people across the country into a riotous mindset. They are so oppressed by violence when they go out and try to protest peacefully, that they like are put into situations where the rioting situation becomes inevitable because the police are like attacking you in the street, and so like we've all seen the videos of like the civil rights movement of like people being gunned down with fire hoses and like attacked by dogs, and like at a certain point we have to stop being like, I care, like I'm concerned about the property, and we have to be like, what are the things that are leading to this? And so I just want to ask you like what you think about all of that, because I think like I'm not like mad at you for saying like, oh, rioters shouldn't do. I think like we just need to talk about this more,
Wait, to be clear, let me be razor clear. I don't think we need to quote unquote talk about it. Like, I think that actual material change needs to happen. Very clearly, rioters are doing what they're doing because of, I imagine, because of a sense of a failure for, I guess, further in that Martin Luther King speech, that promises of freedom and justice had not yet been met for that community. I understand that there are conditions by which riots are created, but we can acknowledge that and simultaneously condemn rioting as well. Like, there are a lot of poor conditions that lead people to do bad things. Like, we can condemn the poor conditions and we can condemn the bad things. We don't have to approve of one just because it was created by something else, especially when those very same riots, might lead us down roads that end up making the material conditions for people worse. There's been some poli-sci research, David Shore cites, that, speaking of MLK, that MLK's death and the resulting riots and the depression and turnout supporting the depression and turnout as a result of his death, could have literally led to Nixon's election. There's an argument to be made for that. And, when we are in a political climate where Trump is losing in every conceivable level and the only thing he has to hold on to are riots, that's something that concerns me. That's my only issue. But obviously, the conditions that create riots are horrible. We should condemn those conditions and we should fix those conditions. I don't think that's a controversial statement. And I've said as much for the past 5 years I've been talking about political things.
Cool. I accept that answer. Can you tell me, I'm a communist. Can you tell me, you identify as a liberal person, or do you identify as progressive?
I would say progressive. Suck them.
Okay, but not as a socialist.
No.
Okay. So I understand your want to distinguish between an uncontrollable riot and people causing random property destruction. So I'll bring up looting. Just as an example, during Hurricane Katrina, people were looting, and there were also armed white supremacist gangs roving the streets or going around in boats in neighborhoods with guns and shooting at looters or people they thought were looters. And I'm inclined to think that because the whole system is just so overwhelmingly just such a joke and a trap for working class people to just create wealth for the ultra rich and the sort of petty bourgeois small business owners and large business owners who think they're rich, but they really also just serve the interests of these big corporate guys. I'm sort of the opinion that when shit falls apart and the government has abandoned you, in the case of Hurricane Katrina, that was just a whole thing. You go to the store and you take a TV that's insured because you have to work 3 minimum wage jobs to keep a roof over your head and feed yourself because of the way that this whole oppressive system is built. I'm not mad about that person taking that TV. And I'm even less mad about someone going to a grocery store and taking food or doing something like that. I have, like I said, I was involved in the protests and the riots in Omaha last summer, and I saw people throw bricks through windows. I didn't choose to throw bricks through windows. I don't think that's something I wanted to do for police reasons, but I also didn't really stop people from throwing bricks through windows because I don't care if X corporation has to fix a window. It's not, I don't care about that. Also, there were police roving around shooting people. So I had bigger things to worry about than angry people who were already on my side. So I think we can have conversations until the cows come home about well, is it right to smash windows and rioting this and rioting that? And I just, as a communist, I'm going to go with what Dr. King said, and I'm going to respect the voice of rioting people and understand that it's not what they wanted to do. Nobody wakes up in the morning and is we're going to have a riot tonight. And I'm just going to always choose to sort of give the benefit of the doubt to working class, poor, oppressed people instead of business owners. And so with that, I'm it's really late and I want to go to bed. Well, and I hope that you go back to you. Can you just, go ahead.
Yeah, so like as a quick response to that, I feel like a lot of the optimism or a lot of the, I guess, like kind sentiment is in the right place, but I feel like the channel or the conduit for this can be incredibly toxic. So for instance, like the idea that we can just steal things from property because it's insured. I mean, we're all Americans. We've all a lot of us have dealt with insurance before. Insurance just doesn't work that way. In Minneapolis, for instance, a lot of the businesses that were destroyed, and Kenosha as well, a lot of those people, the insurance money that they're getting paid out is a pittance compared to what they've actually lost, and doesn't even begin to get back at like time lost working and opportunity cost for their business not running. A lot of the businesses that were destroyed in some of these riots are never going to open again. And the businesses that are most hurt by these riots aren't businesses by huge corporations like Walmart or Target. It's going to be small businesses. And unfortunately, rioters and looters don't distinguish between small businesses and don't distinguish between small businesses and large corporations. Like you can see videos of like people screaming and crying. I'll say even during the '92 riots, there's the really famous video of the black guy that's, crying out like, why are you doing this? Like I came from the ghetto. Like, why are you destroying my business? And more so, if you watched videos during a lot of the Kenosha rioting and a lot of the BLM riots in general, there was a lot of streaming that was going on following this. You could see stores that were being looted. I remember there was one where there was somebody broke in and they were stealing iPhones from the store. And the lady, I think the wife of the person that owned it, came by and they showed up and they were like, guys, like we live like 2 streets away. Why are you stealing from us? Like this is not cool. And the protesters are actually tried to round up like the stolen phones to give them back because they realized how destructive they were being. A lot of the people that are involved in the looting and rioting that are happening too, these aren't even people that live around these areas. I don't believe, I reject earlier the comparison to animals. I don't think that most people want to see their neighborhoods torched and rioted. I think a lot of the people that are involved in this destruction are people from not even out of the neighborhood, sometimes out of town. Man, when I was watching a lot of the videos of these like white kids that were throwing bricks and torching places, it was actually black people in a ton of the videos that were trying to stop the violence from happening. Some of these white kids almost got their ass kicked for suggesting that they start trouble when a lot of the black people that were trying to keep the peace. Because one of the things that bothers me so much about this rioting mentality is that sometimes it feels like it's white Antifa kids that come from the suburbs, then they trash local businesses in black neighborhoods, and then they go back home where they don't have to live in these destroyed neighborhoods afterwards. Again, a lot of these black businesses that get destroyed by these people that are engaging in this destructive behavior, they're never going to reopen. Anybody that's taken a trip on the ambulance to the hospital knows that insurance in the United States doesn't always compensate you for the damage that you suffered. So I don't know. I'm uncomfortable. And I think even Dr. King would agree that like, even though riots are understandable, that doesn't mean they're good. And it doesn't mean we have to support them. And I think we should be very careful with our language when we encourage people to riot, and when we say that we give approval to riots because of the underlying conditions, when a lot of that destruction and damage is disproportionately aimed at the minority communities that we're trying to help.
Hold on, for sure. I don't think that Dr. King ever said we should approve of riots. I certainly don't believe that we should approve of riots. Like I said, I give the benefit of the doubt to the poor, oppressed working people. I want to go back to what you said at the very beginning of this conversation, which is that you thought that the people who were giving into this rioting dialogue were giving into Republican talking points about what was happening. Mm-hmm. I think that you just repeated all the Republican talking points yourself. You just went through and you said, these people are out of town. These people are white Antifa kids. They're anarchists. They're all of these things. And like, I could come back with like opposite examples of like, I know a black woman who went to Minneapolis to protest personally. So like, I could say it's black women traveling. This is all like, all of these examples.
I'm not saying that the people are out of towners or the people that are bussed in. I'm saying specifically that when it comes to destruction of property, you're not going to walk down the street to the local business that you visit every Friday night and destroy it and torch it. That these are people from out of town. And like, I understand that sometimes Republicans float this idea of like out of town protests and everything. I'm not saying that, but like most famously, what I got in trouble for related to the Kenosha clips with Kyle Rittenhouse, like all those people that were shot, like those were white people. These aren't like black people that are out like riot. And if you look at any of the videos of a lot of the property destruction and everything that's going on, it's not actually Black Lives Matter protesters. It's like white Antifa kids. And this is like really upsetting to me because like these protests are supposed to be about, the injustices that African Americans face at the hands of police in the United States, not about, an Antifa agenda or something like that. I think that that's a really bad misframing of it.
Well, I think that we're always going to take pictures and videos and see them on the news of Black Lives Matter protests. And I think we've seen that they've been very diverse. And I'm proud to say that I am a white person who supports the Black Lives Matter movement, and that I'll be out on the street again the next time there's a protest for it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to say about that really, I think, deflates this argument about rioters like choosing to destroy things again. Like, I'll reiterate that I don't think rioters choose to do anything. They just riot when it happens. And I was down in downtown Omaha when James Scurlock was murdered, and there was no riot before James Scurlock was murdered. But after, like, you could sense the change in the crowd. Like, I was a few blocks away from where the murder happened, but I didn't hear any gunshots, but you could almost tell that something happened. Like, it just went through the crowd, everyone changed, like something changed, and then people started like picking bricks up out of the street, like literally prying bricks out of the street to throw through windows because they were angry, because it was a response to something that had happened. And then, like, later in the week, after everything had calmed down, or like even 2 weeks later, businesses in like West Omaha were like boarding up their windows. Like, we're out at Village Point and we're boarding up our windows because we're afraid of Black Lives Matter protests this weekend. And it's just like, folks, nobody's targeting anyone. Like, a riot isn't being targeted at anyone, even though, like, there's some shitty businesses locally that might deserve a brick thrown through their window.
Yeah, I understand this.
Point. What I'm saying is, like, a riot just happens. The windows that were broken downtown and the businesses that were affected, they were just there when it happened. So when you go back to this guy in LA who's like, why are you torturing my business? I grew up in the ghetto. It just happened there. And we have to go back to what Dr. King told us, is that it just happens. There's no logic to it.
But you said yourself
to people's decisions.
But we
don't have to support it. No one's saying we support it.
We can be better protesters, though, right? Like, we can discourage.
No. Hold on. You're asking people who have undergone a mob mentality to behave themselves, and that's just illogical and nonsensical. And that's what I want to impart on you.
I've seen, like, there's so much video
Omaha
footage.
Was a wonderful protester until someone was murdered by a white supremacist.
The problem,
and then people started throwing bricks.
The problem that I have.
Someone was murdered, and before the police attacked us, people were literally singing and dancing in the streets.
I understand what you're saying.
And then a riot happened.
You and me are never.
We can't say be better protesters. It's just nonsensical.
You and I, at the end of the day, are never going to have to deal with the criminal justice system the same way that African Americans in the United States have to deal with the criminal justice system. So I am incredibly uncomfortable with any white person taking the lead on any sort of violent activity inside of a protest because they feel some righteous fear or righteous anger. I think that it is immoral and unethical that you would bring that sort of violence to any community knowing that you get to disengage with it at the end of the day, while the other black people there are going to have to live with that experience and the consequences of it forever. And I'm going to be honest, I'm really big on I don't usually buy into the like, oh, this is only for black people, only for blah, 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 blah. But in this specific context, I think that it is insane and unacceptable that any white people would think that it is their place to take charge on violent action in a city as a result of protests that are getting out of hand that they aren't going to have to suffer the consequences of later. It's going to be the African American community that bears the brunt of that. And when you watch through so many of these protests, and I admit I might be biased, these might have just seen like the streams and the video footage that I saw, and most of the protests that I saw, it was always black people running around that were screaming, watch out for false agitators, watch out for agitators, make sure there are no bricks around, make sure that nobody's up to anything. It was always these black people that were running around trying to keep the crowds in check. And I think that says something. I think it's because they realize that at the end of the day, if the cops start going crazy, if shit starts getting out of hand in a city, it's not going to be the white kids from the suburb that get to drive home at the end of the night who are going to have to deal with it. It's going to be the black communities that are going to be disproportionately policed. It's going to be the black communities that aren't going to be able to post bail, that are going to get worse sentences from judges, that are going to get less discretion from police officers, that have to risk their lives when any altercation comes up. You know, a black person might not get to walk home like Rittenhouse did. You know, they might just get killed by by a cop on the street. That's why I think that these places aren't safe for white people to start violence. I think that it's safer to allow African Americans.
We stood behind Bear.
Well, I think you've like created another straw man argument here, which is that like these white people are like taking charge and leading the violence or something. And I just like, I don't understand how you could interpret like a multiracial protest that turns into a riot after it's attacked by police as like.
I just don't think it's appropriate for I just don't think it's appropriate for white people to be involved in violent activities in a Black Lives Matter protest. It just seems to be wildly inappropriate to me.
So white people should leave before the police attack the group so that just the black people get attacked.
I think that as white people, when it comes to Black Lives Matter protests, I think that we need to be listening to black communities to find out how they want these things to go, because they're the ones that are going to have to live with the consequences at the end of the day.
The black community in Omaha asked me and my friends to come to the Black Lives Matter protest at 72nd and Dodge, and then the police attacked us. For just being in the street. They tear gassed us. They shot one of my friends in the eye with a rubber bullet. They shot another guy in the eye with a rubber bullet, and he lost his eye.
Sure, but I'm willing to bet that if I'm willing to bet that if
at what point should we have like turned?
I'm not talking about protesting. I think that anybody has the right to protest in the United States, and I've said as much. I think that protesting is an amazing thing. I think all people, all races, all creeds can protest. My issue has never been with protesters, just with rioters that are destroying local businesses. If you've been brought in and it's not even your community, I don't think that
how you can't really ask rioters to do logical things.
I think
they're not acting logically once they become rioters.
But I think that we can. I think we can.
It's a physical, emotional response to stimuli, and it cannot be stopped.
I disagree. I guess I just have a higher standard for how people behave. I don't view people as animalistic as that.
You disagree philosophically and scientifically with Dr. King. We talked about this with the language of the unheard.
Wasn't Dr. King constantly asking people to, like, wasn't his entire ideology about peaceful protest and civil disobedience? How is this betraying?
No, that's really like a whitewashing of what his whole protest philosophy was. And towards the end of his life, he became more interested in further militancy and actions of civil disobedience.
If you had to characterize the majority of Dr. King's protests, would you say that he was deliberately peaceful, or do you think that he was like militant in how he went about it?
Dr. King, just like all of the Black Lives Matter protests that I went to last summer, went to protest peacefully and then was met with violence by the police, and then may or may not have been present when riots occurred. And a riot is an emotional response to external stimuli, violence being committed on your person, and a lot of people are not emotionally disciplined enough to control their response to such stimuli. You or I might be stoic enough to sort of keep our calm when the police shoot us and beat us. But I saw a lot of people freaking out last summer just because they had never been treated like that by the police before. And they'd never been under those kind of conditions.
Okay. I mean, like, I totally disagree. I mean, we could drag in. I mean, there's no point in arguing about it a lot, but like, I think that I'm more familiar on the polling side of things, that when protesters are being attacked by the police and everything, that tends to make public opinion very sympathetic towards protesters. But when rioting and everything begins, then the public opinion sways the other way. And then at the end of the day, we don't get the policies we need to approve the material conditions that cause those riots to happen. So that's one of the reasons why I usually push for more peaceful optics rather than violent ones.
Yeah, sure. I don't think anyone pushes for violent optics again. So
okay.
I'm going to go to bed. I think this was a productive conversation. I hope I talk to you again someday and that we both continue to be more progressive, I guess.
Sure thing.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye. Fuck. I don't know if I should have. I don't think I should have went hard on him. Man, I really hate that guy though. Like, because he's made it sound like he wanted to be this good faith interlocutor, but like, this is the type of stuff that he's tweeting about me. And he said worse than this because I've gone through like other things that he's said as well. So it kind of bothers me, but. His friend left too instantly, but I'm also uncomfortable with his characterization of black people as animals that can't control themselves. You should have said something at the end now? No, I mean, I figured we left on good terms, so it's probably... His friend was chatting in here. Destiny jump off a cliff, lol. Oh, nice. Jeez. I've seen like so many videos. There's more than this too. And if you guys were watching during the riots or whatever,
Can you flip this over? Can you flip it over?
What? Are you kidding me? You're asking us to flip over the truck?
Okay, no.
We do not instigate.
Okay,
we do not instigate because it comes back on the black and brown people. Flip over the fucking truck?
No, just forget
We do not instigate. This man just asked us to flip over the truck with his camera out.
No. I don't try it down. What is it doing?
Flip over the fucking truck with his camera out.
What?
Where you were?
Hold it down.
Wait.
What's going on?
This exact problem right now.
What's us?
Hold on, hold it down.
No.
or... Like, yeah, I don't know. They're all videos at the end of the day, so it's possible that we only get like a microcosm or a snapshot that's not an accurate representation. But it also happened during the, there was another big set of riots before the BLM riots. It was like a year or two ago. I remember watching it on a Twitch stream. There was always some black, like 20-year-old kid that was like running around, like screaming, like, watch out for agitators, watch out for agitators. Like, everybody chill. Like, where they were like, they try to be so careful with how the protests were going. Yeah. Do you agree that in certain cases that the rioting could be explained by a mob mentality stirred on by excessive police force? Some instances? Yeah, sure, it could be in some cases, yeah. I think the animal metaphor was about rioters in general, but yeah, it did come across very yikes. I mean, when he was saying that, like, sometimes at these BLM protests, they just turn into animals and they can't help themselves. Even if you and me, you know, even if we can be stoic, like, I don't know if they can help themselves from acting like animals. Ugh, I don't know about that one, man. I feel like if I said some shit like that, I feel like I would get fucking crucified. I feel like if I would let something like that slip, I feel like that would be Vosh's girlfriend would be fucking jizzing herself to run and clip that, or them friend. I don't know if they're non-binary or not, but they would be like running to Twitter to clip that 17-second clip and to spit it out to everybody. Well, That conversation just reinforced the idea of echo chambers for me to the extreme. Seems like they had no idea who you are or your politics and typed your name in a search engine after hearing about you locally and were suggesting videos about you that align with their ideals unless the divide between us all grows. Unfortunately, it's more malicious than that. It's people directly involved with some of these campaigns are shipping around like video clips and everything is what's happening. I have firsthand information about this. Like, that guy has tweeted, like that guy that I just talked to has tweeted really disgusting stuff about me, and other campaign managers for other campaigns have liked his tweets. So like there's definitely some internal movement going on here. What's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
So was that the own you were looking for? Our friend seems a lot nicer in a voice than he does on Twitter, I'm not gonna lie.
So hold on, I gotta cancel out the. So I guess my question here is why are you doing what you're doing?
Because I want to see progressive leadership in Omaha.
I do too. I think that's great.
Then why are you working so hard to destroy another progressive candidate?
I'm not.
What do you call Twitter activism that you're doing?
The Twitter activism that I'm doing? I'm just posting on Twitter, man.
Yeah, what's the goal of your post, though?
The goal of my post? What specific post are you talking about?
Do you think that, like, playing stupid here aids your argument? Or I can't tell if you're doing it to be cute, or if you think I'm genuinely that stupid. Or if you think the audience is that stupid.
Well, I do think your audience is pretty stupid. But, like, what post?
Have you actually spent any time volunteering or doing anything with any local groups in Omaha? Or is all of your activity related to local politics negative?
No. Well,
do you think then instead of speaking out for like the people of Omaha, as you seem so adamant to do so, do you think that maybe it'd be better to spend some like positive time working alongside some campaign or doing something if you feel strongly about supporting another candidate rather than trying to tear down another progressive's candidacy?
You're like a weird Ben Shapiro type on the left.
I'm not doing. If you feel like I'm doing some Ben Shapiro thing or engaging in some straw man or debate tactic, feel free to tell me.
Yeah, I think you probably make pretty good money off of this like leftist bullshit, and I think your audience should probably see through that. But
what do you think they should see through?
They should see through your grift, man.
How am I grifting?
How much money do you make?
Well, I just lost about $200,000 a year for having a position related to self-defense and property rights. So is that a grift?
Is that because of us?
No, it was about my Rittenhouse take. Is that a grift to you?
What's your Rittenhouse take? Let's hear about that.
Why do you notice that every time you? So I'm
gonna
be a little bit.
You just brought it up, bro.
I'm gonna be a little bit. Meta. Okay, hold on. I muted you for a second because you won't stop. So I'm being a little bit meta in this conversation, right? But notice how every single time you bring out an attack and then I refute it because it's just not based in reality, you try to pivot to something else. You've done this over and over and over again. I'll unmute you now.
What's your Rittenhouse take?
Do you think that this type of engagement with politics is healthy? This like obsession with like trigger words and like dunks and owns? Like you realize
isn't this your like fucking career, dude?
No, not at all, actually. My career tends to be like long form, like research. Then
stop talking about politics. Then stop talking about politics.
No. I like talking about politics. I don't like doing whatever you're doing.
Isn't this your career?
What you're doing? Unfortunately, people like you try to make it my career, but it's not really what I'm interested in. I like policy discussion and research.
Dude, you make money off of this. Like, I don't
I also make money playing games like Factorio and Minecraft. Like,
okay, then stick to that, dude, and stop talking about Omaha politics. Weirdo.
Why wouldn't I talk about Omaha politics?
You're talking about a drunk little baby right now, dude. Like, and I'm beating you. This is fucking weird. How are your fans not seeing through this shit?
Do you plan on moving after college? Where do you want to go to? Where do you want to work after school?
I don't fucking know. The world's ending, dude. Like like, do you not see this shit? We're in a global pandemic. Everything's fucking shit, and you're fucking grifting your fucking fans for tips on fucking Twitch. This is weird.
What do you
Don't
think
you
you want to
feel
work
weird
at? What
about
do you think
this?
you want to work at after you graduate school?
What do you think I want to work? I don't know.
Like, do you want to like go to San Francisco and do tech? Do you want to go to New York and work or something? Or what do you want to do for work? I'm curious.
Who fucking knows? The world is ending, man.
I don't think that the world is ending.
We're it's a global pandemic.
The global pandemic is coming
Fucking
to an end. Cases have settled out in the United States. We're supposed to have every adult vaccinated by the end of May. Other countries are slowly starting to reopen. Places like New Zealand and Southeast Asia have like completely controlled the pandemic.
Let's talk about.
Why are we
fucking,
pivoting? Why are you pivoting again? I'm just asking what you want to do for work after you get out of school. I'm sure you have some idea. You're taking on debt and everything to go to school, right?
Who knows?
You have
Who
no
knows?
idea. What's your major in college?
I want to smoke weed.
Well, if you want to smoke weed, did you know that Gudgel has a campaign, and what he's trying to do is make it so that if you're caught with any amount of weed, police won't write you a ticket. Did you know that? There you go. That's your candidate right there. Do you know what Dwayne or Snipes' or Harris's position or Neary's position is on marijuana?
Let's hear them all. Let's hear them all. Reframe.
I think you can go.
refocus.
No, I think you can go look this up on your own. And I think you know what Stothard's position is on it. But hey, I'm just saying, if you consider Mark, if you really like weed, Mark's your guy. So.
Reframe, refocus. Let's talk about Vosh.
Why do you want to
What's
talk
up
about
with
Vosh?
that?
That's the farthest removed
Let's
I
talk
can think
about
of from
that.
any local Omaha political thing.
Let's talk about that. That's weird. Why'd you do that?
All right. Well, I'm guessing you don't want to talk about Omaha anymore.
Yeah, I'll talk about Omaha. Let's talk about Omaha. Let's talk about Omaha.
I don't really want to talk about other like East celebs. It sounds a little grifty to me.
No, let's talk about Omaha. That's why I'm moving off of Bosch.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about Omaha?
About Omaha. Why do you care about Omaha? Because I'm from Omaha, and I want to know why.
What do you think? What are your most important things? Issues related to Omaha. What do you think?
Listen, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drunk.
Okay.
This is content for you, man. So let's just chill, all right?
Well,
I know your fans already hate me, so
I'd rather just go. So it's not about my fans hating you, right? It's more just like honestly.
No, they do.
Yeah, they do, but I don't care about that. This is just a waste of time for me because I'm like truly curious at the end of the day what drives people like you to have such an incredibly negative existence and to represent like such toxicity online in the world. So I'm just kind of curious. Yeah, absolutely you do. Like you
let's
yeah, you want? I can explain if you want, or you don't have to.
No, yeah, do it.
Yeah,
I'm
it seems like you don't
because,
have any
honestly,
strong positive feelings.
I'm a Hasan fan. I like Hasan Biker.
I don't know why you want to talk about other Twitch celebs so much.
No, we'll talk about we'll talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't understand why somebody like you is so destructive online when it comes to political figures, but you don't seem to have any positive support for anybody else. It's like you only exist to like hurt or harm people.
I do, but I'm not going to talk about them because it's
so you only want to contribute negativity
deal.
online. Yeah, you only want to contribute negativity. Do you think this might be like a bigger problem that we have with politics?
I don't want our mayor to organize with someone who wants to advocate who wants to. I don't want my mayor to associate with someone who uses the N-word openly.
Sure. Would you rather a mayor that associates with somebody like me, or would you rather another 4 years of Stothard who obsessively supports the police?
No,
and the expansion of school?
I would absolutely vote for Gudgel over someone like Stothard.
That's cool. So then why would you do something to damage Gudgel's campaign?
There's a whole fucking bunch of candidates. There's a whole fucking bunch of candidates who don't fucking use the N-word for white.
So then why not support some of those candidates positively instead of dedicating so much negative attention and time to another candidate? Really? But you won't talk about any of them.
I won't, because it's fucking you're going to use it negatively against me.
How am I going to use it negatively against you?
Because you want a guy in the primary who's different than the fucking person who I want.
Yeah, but notice how I'm not obsessively shitting on
And
any other candidate.
your fans. It's me against you and your fans. It's me against you and your fans.
My fans aren't involved in this, and it's not even me against you.
We're
not verse each other in anything.
You fucking pay for their hotels. I've said that already.
My fans aren't going out to attack anybody. All we're doing is knocking on doors and making the people of Omaha aware of a certain candidate. That's all I want to do. I want people in my city to know that Mark is running for mayor. That's it.
You're so fucking disingenuous. It's like, it's insane.
Okay, well, it's been a fun conversation. I would say...
Pull your dick out. Pull your dick out and say you're Hasan's baby boy.
First of all, how do you even know that I have a penis? It's kind of a weird assumption.
Pull your dick out.
Right, number one. So that's so you're already kind of... That's already like a little bit weird. Okay.
Baby boy.
Number two, right? I don't know...
Pull your dick out.
I don't know why you wouldn't just have a more positive impact in your local political scene.
And say you're Hasan's baby boy.
Rather than just contributing to like relentless negativity online. It seems really sad. And I'm like a little bit personally bothered by it because I see it happening like on a local level in my city I kind of didn't think that stuff was necessarily this bad. I guess it's something that I'm just a little bit disappointed in. But
you're a little disappointed. Okay. Well, you're taking your fucking toxic ass fans and you're bringing them to my city.
My city, by the way. You don't have any more claim to
My
Omaha
city,
than I
by
do.
the way. My city, by the way. I want your fans to fucking know that this is my fucking city, by the way.
Listen,
my fucking
you're going to be gone in 2 years.
And you don't have any fucking more fucking... You don't have any fucking more claim to this city than I do.
Two things, okay? One,
you don't have
two things, okay? Number one, you're probably going to be gone when you graduate. And number two, that Mark guy, number two,
shut the fuck up.
The Mark guy that you brought in, you realize he's already accepted a job on the East Coast and he's going to be gone in a few months, right? He posts about this publically. I don't know if he knew I knew that.
Who? What are you
The Mark guy that you brought in to argue me, that guy's gone in a few months. He's already accepted another job. He's about to move.
Okay, and I'm here, bitch.
Yeah, for how long? Until after you graduate and then you're going to leave? Because I've got a son that's going to live in Omaha for the next 9 years at least. So I have way more commitment to the city than you do. So I don't know why.
I'm staying here, bitch, and I'm in this city. And this is my fucking city. And you're fucking in wherever the fuck you are, LA, East Coast, whatever the fuck. You aren't here, and you don't give a shit about us.
Okay. Well, listen, I hope that the
I hope that give a shit about fucking destiny.
I hope the relentless negativity continues to play well for you when you're ultra depressed, when you cry in the middle of the night.
Fuck you.
When you realize that you are a sad, pathetic person, because all you can do is contribute negativity online.
You aren't here.
I hope that at some point you take a step back and you reevaluate your priorities in life and you realize that, hey, maybe if I contribute a little bit more positivity to the world will be a better place. Oh, they left. Rip. I had to mute them for a second. Okay. Well. Oof. The thing that kind of irritates me the most about so much of this is that, like, I'm about to make a complaint that I've made 10 million times before. So sorry for all of the people that are like, this is a rerun. It sucks to me that every single point of my life is basically up for evaluation. So, like, I probably have some of the most broadcasted content of any human in existence, save for a few streamers. I think like Ziz probably has more than me. Maybe Soda streams a lot, XQC. He hasn't been in it that long. Like, there is more recorded content of me than almost any other person in the fucking world, okay, at this point, unironically. And it sucks that, like, I'm held up to such a standard that, like, if I've ever said anything or done anything or said anything in a bad context or whatever, that I get like crucified for it. But I know that the vast majority of the people that come at me and try to attack me over stuff that I said, like these people look like this guy fell apart in a 20-minute conversation, right? Like, I know that all of the people that are so relentlessly attacking me, like there's no way that they would stand up to even like a fraction of a percent of this type of scrutiny. They would just completely fall apart. So, man, it really disappoints me. Like, that I have to like constantly defend and relive and deal with the worst things I've said throughout the history of my existence. And then these guys are just like, man, and in like a single conversation, like you can see that these guys are completely unhinged. But the end there where he said the world doesn't care about us sounds a lot like what young people that get sucked into this riot thoughts. Maybe, yeah. Mark is an awesome dude. Don't support it because you like me or give a fuck about me or anything that I say. Go look at Mark's policy positions on his website. Go look at the campaign that he runs. Go look at the ideas that he supports. The only reason stuff has been as positive as it is because Mark insists so much on like playing the high road, like being like the nicer person. Like we've even, I don't want to say fought with him, but like we've discussed with him, like, are you really sure that it like, why are you like, do you need to be helping opponents like get on the ballot? You know, that one guy that came on here said that he supported Dwayne and he was unaware that Mark has literally like been dedicating his efforts to getting Dwayne listed on the ballot. So like the fact that these other campaigns are like kind of rallying together to attack Mark's campaign is like very sad to me, is like very upsetting to me. It makes me feel really bad for the state of like that local scene, is like really sad. Is there a way to donate directly to support canvassing efforts? If you want, you can go donate. If stuff like this, if you really want to help Mark's campaign, you can go donate to Mark's campaign directly.
$9.99.
Also, I think if you donate to Mark, I think he writes you personal notes, which is like...
Stuart Keating.
Unfortunately, these people have started to make it a mission to spread misinformation about my canvassers. And these people have started to spread like bad stories about things that I've said or done. And these people are engaging in really weird behavior related to... I can't show the screenshots because they have real names. But like, there was a business owner on Facebook that was offering to give out the locations that some of our volunteers are staying at and Airbnbs in Omaha, which is really, really, really strange to me. It makes me super uncomfortable. Like openly saying like, hey, like if you DM me, I'll tell you where they're all staying. I don't even know how she found out like those addresses. That's like really weird to me. It makes me feel super uncomfortable. And then all of the weird stories that they're making up. I think I read one earlier where one lady was like, these canvassers came to my door and they woke up our child and our husband. And she was like, wow, what happened? It's like, well, they knocked on our door at 12:30 p.m. and they were really loud. It's like, at noon? Like, this is Amelia on Facebook. Yikes, there are far more affordable options in less than a $20 night studio. Are there like even any in that in Omaha? And Amelia's saying they're not in $20 night places. I know that. PM me if you want to know the locations. Why wouldn't she include that in her story? That's so incredibly fucking creepy. Also, don't harass anybody on Twitter. If I find out that you guys... Oh, this is also another big thing too that's really hard and I can only control my platform so much. Please do not harass people on Twitter. Please do not like go and try to like dox people or harass people or like say bad names or be homophobic or transphobic or whatever. When you do stuff like this, you negatively represent everybody in our community. Although I guess if you're a troll and that's your intention, then yeah, but don't, yeah. This person keeps trying to spam call me now. I'm probably just gonna block them and move on. The whatever person I just spoke to.
Do you ever get frustrated to the point of wanting to give up with a conversation, especially when you deal with so many bad faith people every day?
Kind of, it's difficult. I think that the most difficult thing about the political action is like how public it is too. Because like if, for instance, Mark doesn't make it through the primary, which it's like an uphill battle. This is all like a huge uphill battle. It kind of sucks that it feels like there's so many people that should be ideological allies that are like rooting for the failure to happen. So for instance, if Mark doesn't get through, I know that like Mike is going to be making videos, making fun of everybody. I know that Vosh's community is going to be like really happy if the failure happens. And then that kind of stuff is annoying. I think the thing that bothers me the most about that is that for me personally, just because of the kind of like person I am, I don't give a fuck what other communities think about me or what other communities like do to me. Like that doesn't bother me. But the thing that bothers me is that there are like the people like you guys that actually show up to do the canvassing stuff are amazingly awesome people. God, fuck. There are so many cool people that have come out to do canvassing that like I've met. Fuck, I've met like there are so many of you guys are so cool. I remember in Georgia there was one girl that came out and she was sitting on a bench crying the entire time. And Doug or Christian or somebody told me that told me that I need to go talk to them to see like what was going on, like what had happened to this person, because they were like just like shaking the whole time. And I approached them, I sat down, I asked their name, and I just like started some small talk to see what was going on. And I found out that this person had like severe, ultra severe social anxiety, and that they were from Vosh's community. And like the fact that somebody with that level of anxiety would even show up at all to like try to work at one of these canvassing events is like just super amazing. That's so awesome. So I hope, so one, I have like a huge respect for anybody that actually makes the journey to do it. And then two, I hope that like some of you kind of like carry these experiences forward with you to like view real life politics through a different lens. Because I know, because I, especially, if you went to Georgia and you were part of the people that door knocked, oh my God, dude, old black people do not fuck around when it comes to voting. Holy shit. And watching the level of, and I haven't done that much door knocking yet in Omaha, but even the little I did, watching and then even talking to people door knocking, the level of disconnectedness, like when you go up to like, when you go up and you knock on the door of like a young white person, you're like, hey, so April 6th, mayoral election coming up, you know, is there anybody that, you know, you're thinking about? And they're like, oh, you know, I don't know shit about it. And, man, dude, more than once when I was in Georgia walking around with my little clipboard and my little fucking Ossoff Warnock hat on or whatever the fuck, because we were wearing sometimes, like some black people see you coming and they'd be like, oh, honey, I already mailed in my fucking ballot. Like, dude, they did not fuck around when it came to like their vote and the power of their vote and like the seriousness that they took the responsibility of voting. That was a really eye-opening experience for me. Like, I never really imagined that, like, I just assumed that like nobody gave a fuck about voting or politics or whatever in general. So I think that like getting the real life experience, like the real life on the ground, kind of like seeing how people engage with political systems and local political systems especially, I think is a really good experience too. Sorry, so it's a two-parter. Like one, like if you come out to canvas or anything, you're an awesome person. You're doing God's work. Well, not God's work. You're doing local politics work, which is cool, which is as close as you can get to God's work. And then two, I hope that like it's like lessons that you learn that you take forward with you in the future too. The last two canvassing events have been fucking brutal. Holy shit. Like, on the first event that we went to, it was like both days, it was snowing the entire fucking day, and it was cold. It was like 0 degrees Fahrenheit cold, period. And it was like, it must have been -20, -30 with the wind chill and snowing. It was fucking cold. And then in the last event, it fucking snowed 8 inches on Sunday. Fuck. But this event coming up, it should be the temperature, the weather is going to be way fucking nicer, so we're not going to get snowed out. And yeah. Like, I've heard like numbers where like you might phone bank. I think the last number that I heard that Chris reported was like one of our phone bankers went from 1,000, like out of like 1,000 calls, they got like 13 responses. It was like super brutal. Damn, thanks Tony for getting 5 tier 2 subs. Like, holy shit. Like the phone banking is brutal, so the door knocking seems to be more effective, but yeah. Why do you think this local election is dirtier than your Georgia election you were doing canvassing for? Because everything is much smaller, so our presence is probably much bigger, so I'm an easier character to attack. That'd be my guess. Do you think that guy's first line of questioning was to try to get you to slip up and get the campaign canceled? Yeah, Previnity. Anytime people are asking me questions, I assume that they're trying to get me to like slip up and say something to like use against Mark. That's also kind of frustrating, is that like, is that I have to be really careful because, and it sucks too. In some ways it's positive, I think, and in some ways it's negative. Like, so there's two positives. One is that I think that Mark's campaign is farther ahead than even we feel like it is. I think that's why other people are starting to attack, to get desperate. And then two, I feel like Mark himself is like pretty impeachable. Mark just has Mark has an unbelievable record. Like, one of the things that I'm the most proud of, and you can talk to Mr. Moon, you can grill him on stream and say, just not when he's dying in Dark Souls or whatever, is that everybody that's come out to any of the canvassing events, and you could talk to any of the canvassers out here, anybody that's come out to like hang out at these events and talk to Mark, did I say unimpeachable? Unimpeachable. Did I say impeachable? You meant unimpeachable. Sorry, Mark is incredibly unimpeachable. And that doesn't mean like impeachment, like the political process. I think to impeach is to like attack somebody's character, not impeccable. No, like you would say, if you say like somebody is unimpeachable, it means like that person is like a really good, not able to be doubted, questioned, or criticized, entirely trustworthy. Yes, Mark is unimpeachable. That like anybody that's come out to meet Mark or talk to Mark or have him like, because he hangs around some of the canvassing event, he talks to canvassers, he's like a super, super, super chill dude. He has like really good and really detailed responses to anything that he talks about. His record is like unreal in terms of like the foreign places, like fucking Rwanda and like these places that he's gone to and volunteered and done humanitarian efforts and everything in. I've had 2 of his students message me, and apparently they say like he's a really cool teacher, that most people at school like really love him, that he's a really exciting teacher and people like taking class from him. So like everything about him, he seems like an awesome guy. And that was something that, I'm not going to lie, initially I kind of worried about that. Like, fuck, what if he's like really lame or something? Like I'll show up and he's like, but no, he's an awesome dude. And anybody that's gone on campus, like you can ask him questions about it. He's a super chill guy in real life and everything. So, yeah, I think, yeah. So, I'm sorry. So I was backing up. So 2, they're attacking because I think they're getting desperate. And 2, they're attacking me, which means that like Mark is a really hard person to attack because I think his record and everything that he talks about is so good. I've canvassed a few of his students and they are super excited that he is running. Yeah. Yeah, okay, Cappuccino would know. Okay.
Paul Durfee, $5. The line between Nazism and communism is getting thinner and thinner. Meow.
Meow. Yeah, I don't think
Paul
that's
Durfee, $5. The Stoic Übermensch. Master Explosivo, $5. You should have called that guy out when he said, so you're saying white people should leave before the cops get there to attack black protesters.
I don't know.
Danny, $9.99. I'm sorry if you already covered this, but I'm kind of late to the game here. How can we donate to your Omaha efforts?
I might, when I raise money to play games, that's probably all going into that, so we'll do that later, okay?
Cool face, DGG for life, cool face, DGG for life, cool face. Brad Scottley, $4.99. We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll.
You gnome fuck!
Yeah, people are bringing up the really weird like sexual harassment at the end of that video. That is really weird too. Something that I'm trying to do a better job of is oftentimes since people don't bother me, I usually let a lot of stuff slide. I need to be more blatant in pointing out when people are being rude or disrespectful or disgusting towards me. I'm trying to keep that in mind more. I don't think it's relevant in this conversation, but so like when people are like impugning me publicly for no reason, when people are sexually harassing me, when people are calling into questions like my sexual identity or stuff like that, like this is stuff that I need to try to focus on. My prior thought process has been like, oh, it doesn't bother me, so I don't give a fuck. But I think I need to be more vocal because people seem to wield this in a very offensive manner, like as a weapon, and I need to be more conscious of that. Because optically, I think it's very powerful when you have like opponents that are attacking and demeaning you based on characteristics that they probably shouldn't be. So that's something I'm trying to keep in mind for the future as well. Yeah.
That was genuinely depressing to listen to, not even funny, just sad. Hey man, how about a short wholesome conversation about toxicity after this? That made me really fucking sad. That person was deranged and made me lose a little faith in the world. If I was in your position, I'd be upset. Would it be possible in any way to hold office somewhere and still stream most of the day?
No, I don't think
like
so.
The first fucking Twitch politician or some cringy shit like that.
Wow, thanks. Wait, did that guy just donate money and not put a message behind it? Oh, I think that was IOBOC. Somebody asked, like, is it worth it to engage with these anonymous Twitter trolls? So the problem is that on a local level, these aren't anonymous Twitter trolls. So right now, there are a couple of small business owners that I'm watching on Facebook that are like writing negative and false stories about my canvassers. So I feel like at some point we kind of have to address it, especially with this guy that made the fake Twitter account of me that's just like trying to tag every single local Omaha Democrat or every single local Omaha leader, because like it's getting to the point where Mark's campaign is getting contacted by people that are like, yo, what are these comments that are being spread around? And it's like having a real impact on his shit. So I have to be careful not to because it is getting to the point where people are trying to shit stir enough to like cause people to try to get people to pull support from him and stuff. So I'm trying to make sure that that's not the case. There's like a really delicate balancing act that you have to walk there.
You stress yourself out, and
weird.
at the end of the day, none of their opinions of you change. Do you ever wish someone with substantial following would speak out against this behavior towards you?
Yeah,
Would
but
be nice to see you have some allies on this platform, Sag.
I think at the end of the day, your goal is to just network. So if you see, like, I'm a pretty radioactive person to get involved with, so I think it's much easier to just like say, nope, fuck that guy, and then fuck off. I don't ever hold that against anybody though. I don't expect anybody to like ever defend me publicly. I will say that I was incredibly pleasantly surprised that Anita did. I was like super shocked by that. Like I talk with her every now and then offline, and she's like a really cool person. So that was like really chill. But for most people, I wouldn't expect any type of public defense because most people are more concerned with like maintaining their online reputation and then their pay stream, I guess, than like doing a shit like that. But it's kind of like it's part of the game. She's used to it at this point. I think they're trying to point to what I'm raising money for to try to say like, look, Mark and this guy are best friends, so Mark supports all of his positions. That's like the goal. Oh, it's the expired link. Oh, gotcha. Destiny, missed the middle chunk. Did you call out Mark for his Twitter rampaging into you? No, I'm trying not to be ultra confrontational because I don't want it to turn into a scrimming match. I'm trying to avoid that for the optics on this. If this fails, will you focus more on larger campaigns where your perceived negative impact will be drowned out by competing leftist groups? I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. This has been like a huge drain, like psychologically, mentally, financially, and then work-relatedly. So I'm not sure. We'll see.
You gnome fuck!
Spiritually, lyrically, miracly, yeah.
You gnome fuck!
No matter how unreasonable that person appeared to be, they'd probably still hold a better overall ideology than most conservatives. It frustrates me to know when I see progressives fighting against one another. Yeah, maybe, I guess. I don't know. I feel like you could just easily be swayed into like Nazism or fascism as well, though. I don't know. When Mark brought up the supposed bad actions from your canvassers and quickly said, but let's move over that, just wanted to bring it up even though it's true. That was a super sneaky tactic.
Such brittle spirits, real shame.
Okay, hold on. I might bring in another. Man, all of these local Omaha people want to come on and chat. So much fun. Keep your grift money out of my city. I like that I'm older now too because I can like.
Truther, $5. How's the vaccine rollout going in Nebraska?
I have
Stay safe,
no
dude.
idea. Since I'm like older now, if I talk to anybody that's like, you basically, if you're 28 or younger, I have more claim. If you're younger than 30, like I have more claim to Omaha being in my city than you do, just by virtue of how long we've both been alive. Do you think it's rhetorically effective to talk about your monetary losses and money spent to help progressive candidates, or would that seem super off in a progressive/Democrat spaces when trying to show sincerity? I don't know. That's not really what I want the focus to be. Like at the end of the day, it only works if there are people that are willing to go out and knock on doors. Like I could throw a lot of money in a lot of places and not do anything. Like the only reason this works is because so many of you guys are volunteering your time to do it. So I don't like making it like the only every time I talk about the money is just to say that like it's kind of like a sacrifice for me to do it. So that's why I'm not sure how sustainable it is. I want the focus to be on that because if a lot of people do show up to canvas, I don't want it to feel like the community feels like they failed, and that's why I'm not doing it. Like if I don't do it more in the future, I don't want it to be like, oh fuck, like we didn't volunteer enough, or I showed up and I didn't knock enough doors, or I sucked. I don't want that responsibility to fall on them. That's the only reason I talk about the economic side. It's hard to like dance that line, but
remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.